Okay, and now I'm going to pass it off to Anya to
Yes.
introduce our next guest.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Welcome, everyone. My name is Anya, and I am working here at Cultural Care in Germany. And I am very honored to host this live session. We have special guests, and as we want this to be a super active and interactive session, I would like our au pairs and host parents, host moms, first of all, to introduce each other. So let's start with Romaine and Cassie. Are you here? Yes, I can see you. Can you unmute yourselves? Hey, nice to meet you. Well, we can't hear you yet. Oh, no, unfortunately not. But maybe in the meantime, then we'll move on with Francesca and Kelly. Maybe you guys can unmute yourself. Hi, nice to meet you. So let's start with introducing each other. So talk about the other person. Where are you? How many host kids do you have? How much time have you spent together so far? So we get to know you a bit.
Okay, I'm Francesca. I'm from Italy. I am with a host family in Minnesota. This is my host mama.
Hello.
I am here 1 year and 9 months. So I'm pretty soon I have to leave them, and they're so sad.
We don't talk about that.
I spend a lot of time with my host family because I love my host family, and I like to spend some times together for go to the shopping, for go to the trip, go to the restaurant, or just enjoy the sun and the lake, and go to the boat. So that's perfect.
Nice. So we'll come to that a bit later, how you spend your days and your free time. And let's say hi to Jessica and Holly. Feel free to introduce yourselves. Again, tell us where you are, how your host family setup is, and how much time you spend together.
Okay, hi, I'm Jessica. I am from South Africa. I have been in the United States for 18 months with my host family in Charleston, South Carolina. And my host mom is not sitting right next to me, but she is in her own video.
Yes, we can see her.
And yeah, I have currently looking after 2 host kids, 2 little boys, 4 and 2, and another boy on the way.
Wow.
Yep. So this is Jessica. She's our au pair, like she said. She's from South Africa. And yeah, she's just been a great addition to our family. Our boys love her so much, and she likes to spend a lot of time with us in her off time. And we've just really had a great connection over the past 18 months together.
Nice. And we're looking forward to hear a bit more about that as well. So Romaine and Cassie, let's give it another try. Maybe it works.
Can you hear us?
Yes, now I can hear you. Perfect.
Good. Well, here, let's get us both on the screen here. All right. Well,
Okay.
I'm Cassie. I'm Roman's host mom. We live in the Chicago suburbs. I have a son named Oliver who's eating lunch right now. He just got home from preschool, and Daddy's helping out while we're on this call. So Ro has been, we say Ro for short. So she's been with us now. This is into our 2nd year. So she's with us until January of this coming year.
Nice.
So I'm Roman, and I'm the au pair, and I'm from France, and I'm 21 years old, and so I take care of Oliver.
Perfect. Thank you. Then we have another special guest, Jane, our LCC. You have been in LCC for quite a few years. And yes, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. This is Jane Patterson, and I've been an LCC for over 12 years, and I really enjoy helping families and au pairs, especially. I look at my au pairs like they're like my own two kids, because we have children who are 31 and 28 years old. So, right in that same age range. So I'm really happy to help au pairs, obviously when you're overseas, as well as when you arrive here in the United States.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So we have prepared some topics, and we'll start with the overall topic, life as an au pair, where we will cover general duties, but also first days as an au pair, since we have many future au pairs joining this event today. And Francesca, let's start with you. You have been in the US the longest, and how would you describe the experience of living abroad in general and for such a long time?
My personal opinion, it's amazing, really amazing, because I like to stay here in Minnesota, and these states really surprised me, because it's a different, like a big city like New York or Los Angeles. And yeah, it's amazing, wonderful.
She doesn't want to leave.
I guess that says it all, right? Okay, perfect. That's a good start. And I guess many of our participants are interested in how the first days and weeks look like. Jessica, would you like to say something about that, and how, and if you did experience a culture shock, how did it go?
Okay, so I was fortunate enough to meet my host family prior to becoming an au pair when I made a trip to the United States with my biological family back home. We came to visit, and I was able to meet my host family, which really helped a lot. So when I first arrived to my host family, I got some devastating news the day after I arrived that one of my grandpas had passed away. And it showed me how much my host family actually cared for me, because they supported me through everything, and they tried to make every form of like doing things with me to keep me active, to not think about what had happened and stuff like that. So my host family was very supportive, and they still are after a year and 6 months. And yeah, honestly, I wouldn't say I experienced any culture shock, maybe because I had been to the US before. So I kind of had experienced their whole culture and everything. But I must say the food was a bit of a difference for me. The food portions, the type of food that you eat here is a lot different than back home. It was something my host mom had to help me with, because like when we go to restaurants, I'm not used to ordering food and getting such a big meal.
Yeah, ordering nachos for starters, and you have a whole meal there, right? Yes, classy. So thank you, Jessica. And of course, bonding with your host family is super, super important. And yes, what many au pairs are curious about how it goes. Ro, I just call you Ro, if that's okay, Romaine, and Cassie, how did it work for you? We know, and we as Cultural Care follow your social media account. You have one together, right? So there must have been a way to start a Instagram account together. How did you bond? How did you find that connection?
Well, actually, we decided to do that like maybe 3 months after I arrived, something like that. Just because I think we have a good relation, and we just want to share like what I do as an au pair, and what like she can do as an host mom, or like even the family, and like share activities and everything that we do every day. So yeah, it's a good way to share.
And I would say, I guess, another way that we may have bonded from the beginning, it was really important to our family to make sure that Ro felt, very included from the beginning, that she wasn't just working with us, but she was also a family member. And one of the ways that we did that early on is we did a lot of shopping. We took her shopping. It was in the middle of Chicago winter when she arrived, and coming from France, we figured she probably doesn't have the, all the cold weather gear that we would have here. So her and I did some shopping together. I mean, what better way to bond than shopping? So
Yes.
that was a nice way to start out her first week. I took a few extra days off work, longer than maybe some people would have, but just to make sure she felt comfortable, being here with the family and seeing how we do things at our house. And I think that helped also with the bonding, because she realized that we weren't just gonna start working right away and just have her try to figure everything out on her own. So I think starting out that way, and then deciding to do the social media together was definitely a way that we were able to bond.
Yes, true. I can imagine, and getting to know each other very well. Thank you for sharing. And Jane, so when going to the US, finding friends is also a huge part of the experience, and it is part of your role to bring au pairs together. So how would you, or what would you say, how can new au pairs make friends easily?
Well, I think it really starts with the matching process. Many times as LCCs, we'll reach out to the au pairs when they're in matching with our host families and tell them a little bit about the area and the family. And then I even connect them with other au pairs that are here in the United States that may be from their home country. So already they have a buddy to begin with. And then when they match with a family, I introduce them with my Facebook group. I have a special Facebook group just for au pairs, and I introduce the au pair, and everybody welcomes her and speaks to them in their language and is excited for them. And then I assign them a buddy, so that when they come here, and it's usually from someone who is from their home country or lives nearby them, and when they come, they have someone who will call them and take them out for some coffee or go shopping. And then I have a WhatsApp group just for the au pairs. And it's a great way for them all to connect and talk about activities to do in the area. So those are just some of the things we do to connect our au pairs.
That sounds awesome. So you already feel at home and know people, feel comfortable as soon as that you get there. That's
Exactly.
very nice. And that's another way how to prevent culture shock somehow, and fight potential homesickness. True, yes. And Francesca, when it comes to language barriers, did you have any? How did you feel talking English 24/7, basically?
Oh, so my English is really bad in the beginning, and for the help about my kids and my mom and my dad, I really learn so much better now. So
just I think through exposure to like the phrases we say, and fortunately in Minnesota we talk really slow, so that was probably helpful.
So state recommendation we have here.
Yeah, but now she learns Italian.
Yeah,
so
I've been working on my Italian, so I can talk about cows and dogs, which is useful.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's a cultural exchange program, and learning Italian is win-win situation here.
Yeah.
Nice, perfect. So yeah, just being in the language, being there where it's spoken, learning by doing, always works for so many things. Great, awesome. And Jessica and Holly, let's now that we've settled in, we had our first weeks and days as an au pair. How does a regular day look like in your home? What activities do you do? Maybe also now with COVID. And Jessica, what duties do you have as an au pair?
You can go first.
Okay. So I really try to, uphold obviously the rules associated with cultural care. So making sure that as far as her duties go, we're making sure that everything is related to the children. So I work in healthcare, which is why we and Jess aren't together right now. I couldn't leave work. Unfortunately, I had patients to take care of, but so she starts early. She starts at 6:30 every morning. And that means she also gets off earlier. She gets off then by 3:30. So she takes care of the kids the main part of the day. My oldest goes to school a couple days a week, but even still, even though my husband is home until he drives my oldest to school, Jess is responsible for preparing breakfast for both of the boys. She's pretty good about giving them different things every day and catering to their different needs, waffles, pancakes, oatmeal, eggs, toast, whatever they want. So she does the breakfast, and then she is expected to just clean up with the dishes that she's using for the meal that she's cooking with the kids, and just wiping down the counters a little bit if they make a mess. She obviously does a lot. She can talk about the specific activities she does in the day, but we really encourage her to be very hands-on with the children. We have a pretty strict rules as far as not really having your phone out when you're with the kids very much, because we want her attention to be on them and not on social media or other things that could be maybe distracting. We want her to do things outside and doing inside things, crafts. So just kind of mixing up the day, making sure we're involving learning in her daily activities as well is something I encourage. She will prepare lunch then because she's home with the kids for lunch. So again, whatever the kids want, I try to make her a little menu for the week so that she kind of has some ideas for cooking. But I know that the boys don't always want what I say she's going to cook for them. So sometimes she's got to cook on the fly and decide what she's going to make. So again, cleaning up after them. The expectation is that she's going to help to try to keep the toy room and the kids' bedrooms at least somewhat tidy. Obviously, keeping up with kids is never ending. You can clean and they can dump everything out in less than 1 minute. So I don't expect the house to ever look perfect, just to do her best to work with the children together to just make sure that some of the toys are picked up. She also will do the boys' laundry just once a week. That's usually more than enough for our family. So all of those things are, related directly to just caring for the children, making sure that their space is tidy and clean and that they can all have a more enjoyable time if things are a little bit organized. Again, perfection is not the goal. It's just making sure that
three kids.
Yeah, exactly. That we can all operate together. And then Jess spends like a lot of her free time with us. And keeps doing things with the kids or talking with Chris and I, that's my husband, and going on trips, going on little weekend adventures to the beach or different parks and things like that. But Jess can talk about, I guess, what she does more specifically on a day-to-day.
Okay, so yeah, like Holly said, I wake up and start work at 6:30 in the morning. So then I make breakfast for the boys. Usually depends what they want. Mainly they want pancakes and waffles. That's just what boys like. And then I try and do some free play with them, some educational activities, especially when both the boys are at home, and also Alexander, that's the 2-year-old that's getting a little bit bigger. He's starting to learn things now. So trying to do educational activities with them throughout the day, play outside, go on walks, do some crafts, let them color in, and yeah, basically spend a lot of time with them. Like Holly said, even after work, I spend a lot of time with my host family. I love them. So I spend a lot of time with the boys, and the boys are always asking me to do things with them in their free time. So I don't mind doing that. And yeah, basically that's just what I do in a day. Nothing too different than I'm sure any other au pair does, but yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. And yes, thanks again for sharing. Before we, or you as an au pair and host families get to meet, there's obviously the matching process, which is super, super exciting for both sides when you try to figure out who are you going to spend the year with and who are these people on the other side of the world most of the times. And so Jessica and Holly, let's go back to you. What did you both pay attention to when looking for an au pair or for a host family?
You can go.
Okay. So for me, obviously, like when we were having Jess come to the family, I didn't have a baby on the way. So I was looking at different age groups. So something I'm really looking at is experience with different ages, especially the ages of the children that I have. Not having experience with my specific age children does not prevent me from wanting to interview with an au pair, but it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable if I like have a newborn baby and you've at least somewhat helped care for a newborn baby. I know I can help to teach you things. I know the baby will be 3 months old before you would start caring for them, but I'm definitely looking at experience. I really read the initial letters. I can really get a good feel for an au pair in your letter. So I would highly recommend that you spend a good amount of time working on that letter along with the videos. The videos weren't something that was available when I was interviewing Jess. So that's newer, I have noticed as I begin to search for our next au pair. So I think the videos can be good too. That can help you highlight your English ability. It doesn't mean your English has to be perfect, but that's your chance. As far as the videos go, I would say try not to rehearse it too much or be reading off of something too much. I know you feel very nervous about doing these videos and so many host families potentially seeing them, but you can tell the difference between a girl who's thought about the topics or a boy. I know there's both. An au pair who's thought about the topics and is just kind of talking about them versus somebody who is reading something from behind their computer screen. So I would, I know it's hard when English is your second language for most of you who are applying to the program. So just try to be as natural as you can. The videos and those letters are really going to be the first things that I feel like I'm looking at as a host parent that's really going to make me decide if I put you in my likes category or not. So we have, we can search all the au pairs and then we can like somebody to put them in a different category and then connect with you. So my likes categories are people, I feel like I definitely want to read their entire profile from start to finish. I want to know everything about them and then send those connection requests. So just making sure that, like I said, you're highlighting those things. I'm also looking for people who have similar interests to me. So just being really honest about what you like to do in your free time, what you like to do for fun. The match isn't going to be good for either of us if you say you like things that you don't like, or vice versa. Same goes for in an interview. We're going to be living together for a year or longer. So we want to make sure that we both feel the same and aren't trying to just put things on the profile that maybe make us sound good or look good because we think that'll make us get more host families reach out to us, because that's just going to generate a less than positive match for all of us. And we want to feel like this is going to be a good experience for everybody. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Jessica, from your side, what did you pay attention to, or what would you pay attention to if you'd apply again?
So when I was looking for a host family, I was looking for a host family that had the same moral values as I did. Also someone that shared the same interest as what I did. The way of disciplining kids and how they were brought up and stuff like that. And then also I was looking for a host family that would include me in the family and not just have me as the employee, but actually as someone that would take me in as either like into their family and treat me like I was a family member, not just someone that was treating me as if I was the employee and that was it. And then, I also read through every family. If I read through their letter and I was interested by their letter, I would also read through the entire application, see what their rules were, what their schedule looked like, depending on where they were, if I had access to getting around like public transport, cars. It just depended where I was and what was available to me. And basically just read through the applications. If I felt comfortable with the family after the first interview, I requested to have a second interview. And from there, eventually I found Holly and them and couldn't be happier.
Nice, thank you. I guess that's also an advice. Take your time. If you feel comfortable, perfect, but don't rush over anything just to save a family or to have a family. You have to feel comfortable to spend the year with. Ro and Cassie, what advice would you have for future au pairs for matching phase? What was important to you, or what advice would you have?
My advice would be definitely to take your time, and I would recommend at least doing, 5 FaceTime related calls. We found that it was much easier to do, face to face, especially as English was a little difficult for Ro in the beginning. I don't think 1 or 2 calls would be enough to fully get to know someone. I think the first few calls, it's more formalities, and you're asking very basic questions, barely getting to know someone. So you can't really dig in to who they are and to kind of find out if they're really going to fit with your family, in my opinion, until you've done a few calls. So one of the memorable calls that we did, it was her birthday, which we didn't know until the day that we had called, and she was with some of her friends, and it was just really sweet that she took time on her birthday, still wanted to talk to us and talk to Oliver and my husband Dominic, and we got to meet her friends too on her birthday. And also advice would be during some of those calls, to us it was important to get to meet her family as well, to see where she comes from, and to understand a bit more about her family. So it's important to meet your potential au pair, but also to meet their family. So my again advice would be, make sure that you do multiple, FaceTime related calls, and ask lots and lots of questions. As an au pair going into this, it's important, I think, to make sure you have questions for the host families. If you're on your second call and you don't have any questions for them, it's maybe a bit of a red flag for me as a host family. Like, I want you to ask more questions because we want you to be interested. So, well.
So yeah, I actually wrote all of my questions, and when we were doing FaceTime, I was just asking all the questions that I have. And don't be shy to ask questions, because you really need to know where you're gonna go. And so yeah, we did a lot of FaceTime actually. We didn't match until I think November, I think. Or something like that.
Probably.
So yeah, we FaceTime for maybe 1 month, and then we matched. And yeah, I talked to maybe 3 other family, but I think you can feel it when you call when you call a family, if it's the right fit for you or no. And when I called Cassie, I remember she was at Starbucks. I don't know why I remember that. and so I really immediately feel that it was the right family for me. So take your time, and you're gonna find a good family for you.
Perfect. I think that's a good advice. And if I remember correctly from, I guess it was social media, you wrote you were looking for a family that is just like yours, and you found it, and that makes you really happy. I thought that was really cute.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. So Francesca and Kelly, now it's your turn again. Do you have any advice you want to add to that before we come to the next question?
Yeah, we just actually matched with the au pair who will be replacing Francesca on Friday. So we're really excited about that. But as we went through that process, the first thing we looked at was the videos. And if in your video you have a really flat affect and you're like, hello, I want to be an au pair, you're not be fun, right? We don't want a boring person coming to play with our kids. And so then the other thing that we really looked at, and this might be unique to our family and how we did this, but really important to us, is if people have dietary restrictions. For example, if we have somebody who doesn't eat meat, they will starve at our house. So, that was, don't lie about your dietary restrictions, but it's a good question to ask your host families, I think. And then we kind of did not go through the process. It sounds like the other families. We do a lot of chatting on WhatsApp with our potential au pairs, just because our schedules make it easier to do that, and we can ask more of the questions that way. And really, we only did maybe 2 video interviews. But I think that's part of the excitement for our family, is we like to kind of figure out how to work with really anyone. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's a fun process.
Yeah.
And the other thing we really got frustrated with, if you have a family who's asking to match with or connect with you, either accept it or decline it. Don't let them hang, because as a host family, that really sucks.
Yeah.
yes, that's probably like the same as our au pairs expect a reply or more information. You do the same, and we know you have tight schedules. Our au pairs have tight schedules, so it's just respectful and a good head start, right? And
Be honest.
As we can see here in this session already, I would say there's so many different families out there and paying attention to different things, but in the end, coming down to taking your time, and you just have a feeling if you feel comfortable, and it's a match. Basically. Francesca and Kelly, one more question to you. We mentioned it earlier on that it's also a cultural exchange program, and Kelly, you're learning a bit of Italian. What else do you do, or did you do to learn more about each other's culture? Like, I don't know, cooking or any festivities?
So Francesca arrived in Minnesota on a Friday, and that Saturday happened to be the busiest weekend at the Minnesota State Fair. And so we left the kids with my parents, and my husband and Francesca and I and some of our friends went to the state fair, which was really awesome. It's called the Minnesota Get Together, the Great Minnesota Get Together. So we got to go and be like, look, Francesca, try all of this Minnesotan food, try these Minnesotan beers. Like, this is what Minnesota is about. And so it was culture shock to the extreme, and probably like her stomach, but it was, I don't know, it was really fun. And it was a fun way to bond with her, like without the kids, kind of. And then my kids would prefer Francesca cooks every night of the week. You know, we never, sorry, we're sitting outside my work because it's finally not snowing. But, you know, Francesca eats supper almost every night with us, whether we're doing the cooking. I don't do the cooking because nobody wants that. But whether my husband's cooking or Francesca's cooking or we order pizza, we eat together 6 or 7 nights a week. And we do like Italian holidays along with our holidays, and you know,
I told her sometimes, say, oh, that's a holiday in Italy. Okay, we can do a party.
So best of both worlds, actually. So we have festivities every day. Or at least every month. Nice. Great.
It's a really beautiful welcome to the States.
The whole state in one
for
hour.
3 days, I think.
Nice. So perfect. Now Jane, we'll come back to you. It's finally your turn again. And you probably you're not experiencing the culture shock, but have had au pairs who did, or who felt homesickness. And so first of all, yes, maybe just let all of us know what an LCC does. What is your role? And just first of all, start off with that.
Okay, that sounds great. So basically our role as an LCC is that we check in with the au pairs, and we check in with them monthly. Here in Ohio, we, during COVID, have had virtual, to begin with, virtual au pair gatherings. So we would do some fun games like bingo, or we would play a scavenger hunt. And we would have the au pairs find certain items in their home. And it was kind of fun because we'd say, wow, go find a leaf that has some orange color in it. And they'd have to run outside their house and go find that leaf and bring it back. And so we are responsible for gathering together au pairs once a month for these meetings. And of course, here in Ohio, we're luckily able to gather outside again because of where we are with COVID. So that's wonderful. And all my au pairs have had the opportunity to get a COVID vaccine. Wow. Meeting together, and it's free, meeting together will be really great again to see everybody in person. So we get, au pairs together once a month for au pair gatherings. And then we check in with host families to see how things are going with the au pair. And if there's anything we can do to help in any way, we provide educational component information. So what does actually comply with the post-secondary accredited education piece that you all need to get when you arrive here, whether you go to a college course or you go to a non-English or a non-credit class, such as an English as a second language class, we help you find those that qualify for that education component. And then we also, provide a checklist of things that you're going to need to do when you first arrive here, whether it's getting the Social Security number here and how you go about doing that and what documents you need. We also provide you with information on how to get the state license, as I do here in Ohio, and then how to set up a bank account so that your host families can pay you their stipend, very easily. Most of my host families do that via direct deposit. So we help you get acclimated when you first arrive here. And then, we also are responsible for hosting 2 host family events a year. And those have been virtual. So we've done some bingo games and some scavenger hunts with au pairs and host families, and they win prizes maybe like a $30 Amazon gift card. And so au pairs and host families have really loved doing that. So that's basically, our role. And then, of course, we help find new families that want to host an au pair and educate them on what it's like to host an au pair. That's also part of our responsibilities. But, we're here to help you get acclimated, to make friends, where to go for your education classes. We're just here to help answer those questions.
Nice. And so you get to meet monthly, you said. Nice. And you get to be creative these days with virtual meetings. And it sounds that you found a great way of doing that.
It has been. It's been really fun. Coming up with creative ideas to make it virtual. And of course, we always tell au pairs and host families that if we have an in-person meeting, they have to be comfortable with that meeting. And if they're not comfortable, that's okay. We understand. And we'll talk to them, virtually. But as things are opening up here in Ohio, and au pairs and host families are getting vaccinated, we're going to have more of our in-person meetings again, where we can do kayaking, we go hiking. Here in Ohio, actually in Dayton, Ohio, because that's where I'm from, we have the largest miles of bike trails. We're actually listed in National Geographic magazine because of all the miles of bike paths that we have here. Or we go horseback riding, or we go hiking and walking. And sometimes I'll have the au pairs provide a cooking lesson on how to make something. One time I had an au pair who showed us all how she made her chocolate sauce for strawberries that she would dip in them. And that was just kind of neat. So I usually try to get input from au pairs as to what they would like to do. Because that's always more fun when everybody has input as to what the au pair gathering meetings will be about. So, yeah.
And how many nationalities do you have in your LCC group currently, or what was the most highest mix you had in the past?
Well, I have anywhere from, it fluctuates between 10 and 25 au pairs in my group. And the nationalities vary. I have many au pairs from Latin America, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico. But I also have au pairs from South Africa and Germany and United Kingdom. So, we really get a wide variety of nationalities, which I think is so great, because it exposes au pairs to other nationalities besides their own culture. And it's just another layer of learning about another person and their traditions and speaking to them in English, which is so important.
Okay. Nice. Thank you, Jane, so much for giving us more insights and to our future pairs. Yeah, get to know maybe potential future LCC and to know that yeah, we are here in their home countries, but they're being taken care of by our LCCs in the US and welcomed then in case something happens or they need an open ear from someone. Thank you, Jane. So before we come to an end, I would like all of you to maybe share your number one tip for all the future au pairs who are with us here today, and maybe also your favorite moment you spent together. Well, I can see Francesca and Kelly probably the whole experience, but maybe there's one moment you can narrow it.
It's difficult to find the one.
I know.
Yeah.
We were talking about it last night, you know, and like I feel like from Francesca's side, she has a favorite moment with each of the family members individually, and then as a group, I don't know. I had a lot of fun at the state fair.
Yeah. We are at the state fair. We went to Michigan for vacation, and it's so trips. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to wild game, baseball game. What else? Aberdeen.
Yeah, we do a lot of things.
A lot.
Just so many favorite moments.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that, you know, we were talking to my husband just so we could have a concise point of advice for au pairs, and I don't know if host families are on here, but like just dive into it and be open to things. Yeah. So be open to trying new things, and be open with your communication, and like it's such a cool experience. And I don't know why every family doesn't do this, because it's been really, really awesome for us. And I mean, Francesca's friends, the other Italian au pairs, are over at her house all the time. And like, we might be half Italian at this point. I don't know, just be open and have fun, because it's a really, really awesome experience.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
For both of the parts.
Yeah.
Nice. Holly and Jessica, what is your advice? And maybe if you want to share a moment, a special one.
Okay, I would probably say, like they said, there's not just one favorite moment spent with my host family. I would probably say one of the best moments I had spent with them was when we went to take a road trip up to North Carolina and Tennessee, into the mountains, and went hiking and everything with them. That was really fun. I'm a very adventurous person and I love the outdoors. So doing things like that really make me happy, and I really enjoy things like that. And probably my number one tip for future au pairs is be yourself, be honest with the host family. Don't act as if you're someone that you're not, because it's going to be a long year if you do. So be honest and be yourself. Host families really appreciate if you are honest with them, just like you hope and pray that the host family that you're speaking to is honest with you as well.
Yep. I would agree with Jess. I was going to say our camping trip as well, but another great moment was just getting to share with, our immediate family, and then my parents and my brother, our gender reveal of our baby that we are expecting in September. So we made some nice videos, and it was just a special moment for her to be a part of that. We had never really done a big gender reveal, so that was really fun. I guess number one tip for future au pairs, I kind of already mentioned, but and also what Jess said, just be yourself, 100% be yourself. I know it can be hard if you're not getting connections and you're thinking, oh, maybe if I change something on my profile or try to, maybe be something different, but you will find the right host family for you, I promise. I interview many girls before I make a final decision, and it's really hard because so many of you are so wonderful that it's really hard. So just being really honest and open and willing to have the conversations, as the other family said, having multiple video calls and also staying active on WhatsApp. We actually do both of those things. So
thank you, Holly. Then Ro and Cassie, what do you
So
say?
actually, for me, I think so. The best memory, I mean, we have a lot and we laugh a lot, but like, I think maybe, yeah, the road trip was fun. Even in the car, it was long, but it was fun actually.
Yeah, we also did a road trip to all the way to North Carolina and stopped a couple places along the way last summer. So that's what she's referring to.
Yeah, and we just came back from Arizona. That was great too. We went to Arizona last year too. So yeah, I mean, everything is great.
I would say we purposely didn't talk about it in advance because I was curious as to whether she would come up with the same moment as me. But on the road trip to Tennessee, Ro and I the whole time wanted to see a bear, like terribly.
Yeah,
like we
sure.
wanted to see a bear out in nature. And we were at the cabin where we were staying, they just explicitly say, don't throw food off your balcony, like don't encourage the bears to come, but we didn't listen at all. We were throwing pizza off the balcony, like wanting to see the bears. We never saw a bear at that time, but the very next morning when her and I decided we were going to go for a hike, got up really early. On the drive to the hike, we saw a mother bear and 3 cubs, and we just couldn't have been happier. So I think like for us,
Yeah,
it was
true.
a moment where we literally saw what we'd been waiting for the whole trip. So we were overly excited about seeing the mother, the bear and her 3, like the 3 cubs.
Yeah.
So certainly, as you can tell, the theme, it seems between a few of the other families too, is that traveling together, even despite COVID, all of us seem to have been able to do some safe, some safe road trips and still, getting out. And I think it's super important, especially for new au pairs that are thinking about coming to the U.S. so they understand that you're not going to be stuck at home. Most of us families are still trying to get out safely. I also work in healthcare, which also seems to be a theme on this call. So we've been vaccinated, but we've been cautious, but at the same time realizing that there's an important mental health aspect to this, where you still have to get outside. Minnesota and Chicago are hard to get outside in the winter, but I love that you guys are in the back of the car and you seem like so much fun. For Jessica and Kelly, it's amazing. So it's my only other thought as far as a tip would be, as far as the biggest tip that I could give, in addition to what even Jessica had mentioned about being yourself, is on both sides, making sure you feel like the fit is someone you can see as a family member. It's not about that you're trying to hire an employee. It's truly about someone you can see fitting in with your family. And if you take that approach to it, everything will go just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
thank you. Oh, sorry, Guru.
No, sorry. Just be yourself. Like as an au pair, just be yourself when you do your profile, because it's how you're gonna find the right family for you.
Perfect. Thank you. Jane, do you have one last tip from your end?
I do. I think that the key to a successful year for au pairs and host families is communication. Communication with each other is the key. And you can't be afraid to communicate with each other, because, and the other thing is to communicate with your LCC. Having that relationship, we're here to talk to you in confidence, just like we are here to talk to host families in confidence. But we're here to help both of you, all of you. And that communication is really the key to success for a great year.
Perfect. I think that is a great advice. Yeah, at the end of our amazing au pair life event, I would say thank you all for joining. Yeah, from all of us here at Cultural Care, thank you for taking the time, telling us a bit about your story, giving great advices. It was amazing seeing and meeting you. Enjoy your few days left. Enjoy the rest of your month together. And I mean, as we say here at Cultural Care, you now have your second family, your American family, and this bond, yeah, will last. And for all of our participants, if you want to find out more about au pairs from your countries, you can go on Instagram, check out our local Instagram account, and you will find many more stories and great takeovers from au pairs to get even more insights. And with that, I am handing over back to Laura. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our panelists today and for sharing your stories. And thank you for everyone who joined to learn more about the program or to get excited. I know we have participants in all kind of facets. We have some au pairs who are getting ready to travel. We have some who are in the matching process. So I hope you guys got some great tips of, this last conversation I think was great about that matching experience and finding the right host family and having the proper communication. And I know there's some of you who are deciding if this is the right program for you. So if that's you and you'd like to learn more, we would encourage you to sign up for an info meeting where we'll go into a little bit more detail of the program and the requirements and everything to get you started. So if that is something that you're interested in, go ahead and scan that QR code and you can sign up for a meeting in your local area. And to everybody else, thank you again, and we wish you all a good evening. Take care.